Did the Flash ever fight ghosts? Yep, with his friend Deadman. Welcome to the Complete Story Series. I take trade paperbacks in single issues and I break them down into digestible bites so that I can read them dramatically back to you. All directions to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Midwest Territory, 1848. A man finishes his work in the mines and a man appears before him. The man sees that it was his friend Marshall, but he came back. Marshall looks over the diamonds laid out and Sutter tells him they did it. They finally did it. But Marshall sees Sutter waited until he left. He wanted to take all of the diamonds for himself. So he did what anyone would do to someone who lied to them: kill him. In the current times, Barry Allen follows the trail of some thieves who decided to rob every jewelry store on the block. Thankfully, the trail isn't hard to miss, and Barry follows the fiery footsteps down into the subway to find Chroma and Tar Pit arguing with each other. Chroma argues that they shouldn't have hit so many stores, and Tar Pit says, "What's it matter? It's not like they're gonna outrun the Flash or anything." Barry easily takes down Chroma and then extinguishes Tar Pit, and Barry tells them that they really should consider not working together because they might end up. Before Barry can finish stating killing each other, he looks to see a group of skeletal remains. Once the police arrive, Barry and the rest examine the site, and Barry notices these bones have been here for years. But why did they suddenly stop? Captain Fry tells everyone because they already got the villain. Everyone asks if he knows who did this, and Captain Fry says that it looks like the burial site for the Broom Hill Butcher. His real name was Hollis Holden, and he's currently already serving 32 life sentences for what happened 20 years ago. Barry mentions that he grew up in Broom Hill. Why doesn't this story of a killer sound familiar? So he decides that he's going to help with the case, but Captain Fry tells him no. Forrest will be on the case, and then he walks off. Back at the station, Barry walks with Patty, and Patty asks what's up with him not getting to work on the case. And Barry's not sure. But regardless of him and the captain's relationship outside of work, he'll follow protocol. He wasn't put on the case. But he can't help but think about it, and that's when he starts to put together a timeline of all of the Broom Hill Butcher's murders. This might not be Barry's case, but he's sure gonna try and help. A short while later, Barry is called in and told that there are 6 murders linked to cold cases within the past 10 years of the killings. If Hollis had been locked up for 20 years, then he would have had someone else helping him. The other reason Barry is interested in this case, though, is because those murders happened right around the time Nora Allen was killed. Barry tries to get some information from his father, but his father refused to talk about it, so he goes to someone else who was there, Hollis himself. Barry tells him that he knows that there was someone else, he just needs a name, but Hollis tells him it doesn't matter. He's already dead. As the cell doors open for dinner, he says so will he, and he jumps off the ledge. Barry runs off and grabs him before he can fall, but as Barry's holding onto the ledge, a voice tells him that it must be his lucky day. The man steps on Barry's hand, and a voice tells him it's his old friend Girder. Barry runs over, grabbing a guard's gun, and then he hits Girder with it, and then Girder stops and then falls to the ground. Barry puts the gun back and tells Hollis that he needs a name, dead or not. So Hollis tells him Archibald Dillon. Later, Captain Fry calls Barry into his office to tell him to leave the case alone. He's not gonna find any answers linking to his mother's case. Barry says that he needs to do this. He does, and he wants to know if he can exhume the body of Archibald Dillon. Fry tells him no, but Barry tells him it's easy for you to say. It wasn't your mother. Fry says no, she wasn't, but he did love her more than he'll ever know. His mother and him had history. Barry asks, why bring this up now? And that's when Fry tells him that they're gonna talk about it later. But this guy did not kill Nora. Barry leaves, but that doesn't stop him. He'll dig up the body on his own. So he goes out there and starts to dig up the grave, and when he opens the casket, a spirit appears yelling, "All Fletchers must die!" The spirit then begins to possess Barry Allen, but there's another person possessing him as well, Deadman. Images of the spirit begin to fade in and out. It's like Barry isn't the one talking to the spirit, someone else is, and the spirit says that this one can help him, release him! And the other voice says, he can't have the Flash. Barry struggles and he hears the voices inside of him, but he's had enough. Then 2 spirits fly out of his body. The spirit sees another civilian and jumps into him and escapes. And then Barry starts to get back up and he asks Deadman, what are you doing here? Why did you possess me? Deadman explains that he did so because he just released the spirit of the Keystone Killer. And Barry asks him, are you serious, the Keystone Killer? The Keystone Killer is just an old ghost story taught to kids about bad things greed can do to people. All I wanted to do was exhume the body and get some DNA from Archibald, who was an accomplice to the Broom Hill Butcher. Deadman explains that the Broom Hill Butcher and Archibald are both hosts of that evil spirit. So evil that it even disrupted the balance of the spirit world. The spirit also said death to the Fletchers, and does that name mean anything to you, Barry? Barry says that the Fletchers were a founder family here in Central City, and he might be talking about them, so Deadman states that there's only one way to find out. Barry brings Deadman to Hollis so that he can possess him and read back his memories as the Keystone Killer. After a short while, Deadman returns and states that he knows what happened, and it was pretty messed up. The killer was named Ulysses Sutter, and he used to struggle to support his family. One day during the gold rush, him and his friend Marshall Fletcher set off to try and strike it rich, but because of bad weather, they had to stop before they ever made it to California, and they started digging on unclaimed land. Marshall eventually went home with no luck, but later after he left, Ulysses found diamonds. One night, Marshall came back to check on him, and seeing him with diamonds, Marshall thought that Ulysses was holding out on him, so he killed him. Except Ulysses didn't die. He ended up starving to death after Marshall blew up the mine shaft. Barry says the Fletcher family has been around for 150 years. Their bloodline could be in the thousands. Barry and Deadman head over to the Hall of Records to try and look up the Fletcher family tree, but for some reason their genealogy stopped in 1989. Barry asks Deadman if he found anything, and he did, but it's not good. Turns out the spirit that they are chasing is fueled by hate, which makes him the worst kind of evil spirit, but he does have a weakness. He can't possess people for a long time without going for another host. The only exception to this would be when he jumped into someone with his bloodline, which is why he was able to stay in Hollis for so long. If Deadman can see the horrifying things that Hollis did, does that mean that he can understand why Barry Allen is doing this? Deadman tells him that while he was inside of Hollis, he did see his victims and his mother was not among them. Barry, Hollis didn't kill your mom. Barry gets a message from Patty telling him to head over to the museum. It's very important, and once he gets there, he finds that the guard has been killed like the rest, but there's something else. The Marshall Fletcher exhibit has two things missing, a helmet and an axe that he used. Patty mentions that Fry found out that she was helping on this case with Barry, and he pulled her off of it so she didn't get a chance to run the DNA that he wanted. But then Barry gets it, the DNA. The pertinent records were gone, but where else would he get information but the police database? Barry runs into the station, but it's already too late. He sees Singh standing there with a pickaxe and dead bodies across the floor. He's currently possessed. Singh says that he just found them like this, and Barry believes him, but to confirm everything, he watches the security footage and he gets the answers that he needed. Ulysses' spirit originally tried to take over Barry when he opened up the casket of Archibald. After getting inside of Barry, Ulysses saw that he had a new way to look for those of the Fletcher bloodline through the CCPD's database. So Ulysses hopped from person to person until he went into Forrest, and what he found was that Captain Fry is Ulysses' last descendant, meaning if he possessed him, he would be able to go back to the killings. Barry heads over to Captain Fry's house and he finds Forrest there, but no Captain Fry. He then asks Forrest what happened, and Forrest doesn't remember much of what happened. He does know that Captain Fry left a note addressed to the Keystone Killer. The note said that he was the last living Sutter, and then challenged him to meet him at the spot where they met, but where Forrest doesn't know. Barry runs over to the police station to see if anyone has seen Fry, but no luck, and while him and Patty review the records, the one thing that she finds out is that Daryl Fry might actually be his biological father. That was the thing that Barry's mother and him had all those years ago that he wanted to talk to Barry about. And if that's true, then the ghost might be able to permanently possess Barry Allen. Barry says that he doesn't have any time for speculation, and he begins to search through Captain Fry's offices, going through all of the old case files. But as soon as he finds what he needs, he leaves, dropping the file containing the DNA paternity results to Barry Allen. Fry stands outside waiting, and finally the Ulysses spirits comes to claim him. Ulysses tells him that it's no use. Fry won't return him just because he brought him to his resting place. Fry says the last time he made the mistake of burying the body, but this time there won't be anything left to bury. Ulysses moves in to grab him, but Fry pulls his arms out of his coat, revealing that he pulled the pins on several grenades. Ulysses tries to gain control, but before the grenades go off, Barry runs in, grabbing all of the grenades, letting them explode in a nearby lake. As Barry is blown back to land, Ulysses tells Fry that he is no Sutter, but because he now can see his memories, he knows that it's Barry who is the Sutter bloodline. Ulysses flies over to Barry, but before he can, the House of Mystery appears and falls before him, with Deadman stepping out. Deadman tells him no, but Barry runs in and tells Ulysses that it's him he wants. Go ahead and possess him. But as he does, Barry begins to vibrate, and Ulysses asks, "What is this?" Barry tells him, "Actually, it's me in control." So Ulysses is stuck inside of Barry with no control. Barry asks Deadman where his trap was, he'll bring him over there. And Deadman tells him, "3rd floor, 2nd door on the right." In a flash, Barry returns telling him that it's done. And Deadman asks him how. It's actually really simple. Barry did what he did before when he kicked out Ulysses and Deadman. He vibrated at different frequencies, which allowed him to remain in control while Ulysses was inside of him. That was the plan the whole time. He just didn't know where to put Ulysses once he caught him. But then, when the House of Mystery fell, he put it all together. After Deadman and the house leave, Fry asks if Ulysses is finally gone, and Barry tells him yes. Later, back at the station with Barry, Fry explains that he was just trying to protect him, which is why he removed the records and changed them in the system. And about his mother, he once loved her at a time before Barry was born, but the timing just wasn't right. So he watched from afar, and after everything had happened, he just wanted Nora in his life, and raising Barry was a way he could do that. Captain Fry leaves Barry and Patty, but later he pays a visit to the prison. He meets with Barry's father, and he tells him that he knows Barry comes by, but no matter how many times he asks, he can never really explain who killed Nora. Now this is a little side story in the middle of the New 52, so if you've been watching our New 52 storylines, then you already know who killed Nora Allen, and you already know that Barry Allen is out of prison. I just wanted to go back and touch on this story because I always thought it was a pretty cool one involving Deadman and spirits and Barry Allen fighting ghosts. It's pretty nifty. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you guys next time right here.